Kia ora koutou. Can you hear me loud and clear? All my people at the back, if you can hear me loud and clear, let me hear you say, oh yeah. Come on, say, oh yeah. All my people at the front, let me hear you say, sweet ass, bro. Say, sweet ass, bro. Cool. I'm glad we got that connection. So before I start my talk, my presentation, and introduce myself, I know we usually save the thank yous for the end, but because we're in the tech space, and tech is all about pushing the boundaries and being different, I wanted to start my presentation off different as well by saying thank you first. So I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for getting out of bed this morning, making the effort to be here. Thank you all for your energy, but most importantly for myself, thank you for allowing me to be here, to be in your space, and to share a little bit about myself, where I come from, my journey in the hip-hop scene here in Aotearoa, and how I got into tech. So when Ara Journey CEO Amber Taylor, and my mentor, when she contacted me and said, are you keen to come along to the Tech 21 Summit and tell your story, tell the rangatahi a little bit about yourself? My response to her was, yeah, sure. You want it, you got it. Be careful what you wish for though. Timeless words, time you heard. We passed on trade secrets for those who know. Same, different day. And I still got flow, but then I still got broke. I mean, my bank is kind of dusty. I'm balling on a budget. My game, kind of rusty. But nevertheless, I stay way cool. I'm fresh. And I don't play fool. Blast off. I didn't mean to make you wait. But good things take time to create. And I'm trying to create my piece of cake. Homie, I can relate. Do what I can to play my part to make my dynasty great. Because where I come from, they don't know nothing like this. Watch me, king, not like Dawn, but like Midas. Touch the mic, I shine, and you can spot I'm true. You don't have to understand, but this is what I do. It ain't no taking a style, no taking what ain't mine. Have you heard about that old, what they say about great minds? Listen, don't get lost in the gossip of the grapevine. React to the facts. March on, because you're a soldier. So yeah, my response is, yeah, I'll do it. And so, it's going to go a little something like this. Side A, track 1, boom. That's the intro, a little bit about myself and where I come from. Side A, track 2, boom. That's the music, a little bit about my experience in the hip-hop scene here in Aotearoa. Side B, track 1, boom. That's the mahi, a little bit about what I do in the tech scene with Ara Journeys. And side B, track 2, boom. That's the outro. Hopefully there's some jewels that I can leave with you before I go. So, the intro, a little bit about myself. My name is James Brooks, and I'm a junior game developer for Ara Journeys. All my friends and my whānau, they all call me JB, and since we're all whānau today, you're my cousins, I'm your older cousin, you can call me JB as well. So yeah, I was born and raised in Whanganui, the 06. Wanganui, anybody know where that is? Someone know this? Yeah, down the line, so in between Palmerston North and New Plymouth. I was born and raised in Wanganui, but I live in Hamilton, and I've been living there for 20 years now. I'm the eldest of 5, so I've got 2 younger brothers, 2 younger sisters, and my mum and dad, they moved to Brisbane in 2000. And when they moved to Brisbane, I moved up to Hamilton. I'm the oldest grandson on my mum's side, my nan and koro. I'm sure my cousins will correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm the eldest of 43. So I come from a large whānau, large Māori whānau. But I grew up, my parents, they never spoke te reo Māori to us in our household. So I didn't grow up knowing te reo Māori or tikanga Māori, te ao Māori. So those are the things that I missed on in our household growing up. Like I said, I'm from Wanganui, and I came from a bit of a rough upbringing. My environment is surrounded by gang violence and violence, like abuse and neglect and those sorts of things. Now I promise this talk isn't going to be all negative, sad and depressing, but I also think it's important that we don't just share and highlight the good things about ourselves, but we also acknowledge and highlight the not so good, I guess. Because everything that happens in our lives, it makes us who we are today. And so for me, I embrace all of that because that's who I am. So the things that I was going through in my household as a lonely little Māori boy, not knowing myself, feeling ashamed of not knowing my Māori side, but also the things that I was going through, I thought I was alone. And I thought the things that I was going through inside my house, there was no one else in the world that was going through the struggles that I was going through. The thing that sort of helped me find a purpose or find some direction in life was, at that time, for me, it was hip-hop music. The first sort of hip-hop music that I was introduced to, the stories and the things that I could hear, it sounded like they were talking to me about me. I was hearing my story, and that helped me realize that I'm not alone. There are other people on the other side of the world. How could I be hearing what they're going through? And it's the same thing. And so that sort of helped me have something to connect to, have a purpose, and I could relate to something. So I knew I wasn't alone. So the music side of things, we're going to fast forward a little bit now into my hip-hop lifetime, to my late teens, 20s and 30s. I've had a lot of influences, international and local, of course. A lot of memorable moments and people that I've collaborated with or been able to connect with because of my passion for hip-hop. Now, like I said earlier, hip-hop for me was something that I could relate to because they were telling me about my story and I could hear the similarities in that. I come from an era that's known as the golden era of hip-hop. And some people will argue that that's the mid-1980s to the late 1980s. So, yeah, you are right, I am kind of old, eh? Or others will argue that it's the early 90s to the mid-90s. So for me, I'm from a generation of 1990s hip-hop. That's our golden era of hip-hop. And the things that we're talking about back then, which is different to now, that doesn't mean one is better or worse, it just means it was different. The content in their music, it was more complex and clever in the way they were writing their rhymes and structuring the things that they were saying. I learned a lot more from the music than I did at school, for me, and in my whānau, the things that I was listening to. They would rap about things like science and astronomy, social studies, religion, economics, blended that in with street stuff and survival stories, and that spoke to me because it let me know that what I was going through, I could understand. But I've had lots of awesome memories. The hip-hop culture is something I could talk about for a whole week, but I don't have that long, so I'm just giving you a brief experience of my journey. From 10, 11, 12, some of the artists that I was listening to, I had no idea that one day I'd be performing on the same stage as them or getting backstage and getting to know them and hearing their stories from the other side of the world and the things that make us similar and different. Because at the end of the day, we're all the same. We go through the same things. And for me, that's the vehicle of music that helped me to connect and find my place in the world. But locally here, I've had the privilege of collaborating with and connecting with heaps of local artists in the early stages. People like David Dallas, PNC. I got mad love for South Auckland and the artists that come out of South Auckland. Poetic, and I know everybody must have heard of Swit It. Swit It. Got some love for South Auckland hip-hop. What about Dawn Raid and the Decepticons, Savage? At the moment, I'm recording an album while I'm working with my record, and that'll be coming out soon. This is a lot of things that I'm proud of my journey, and that's just simply from following my passion of hip-hop. Having a song, being a part of a song with Nisha Mystic going to number 5 on the chart in Japan, all those sorts of things have been really awesome for me because it's shown that if I follow something that I love, these sort of things can happen. But I say all of that to say this. I get asked the question a lot, what do you think success is? What is success to you? And to me, success is if I can wake up the next day and be proud of what I've achieved and have the respect of my peers, then that's success to me. Forming friendships and relationships with these people, because of our passion for hip hop, but these things exist outside of hip hop. And so to me, that means more to me than like money and awards and all that sort of thing. Um, yeah, that's a bit about my hip hop lifetime. But how did I get into tech? I was going to say my transition from my hip hop lifetime to my tech lifetime, but I don't want to say from, because hip hop isn't something that I do. It's a part of me. It's my life. So I sort of want to talk about how I added that into my kete, how I added my tech journey into my kete. Hip hop was a priority at the time, and I was in a position where I could do that full time. But as I got older, my wife and I, we have a blended family, so we got 6 kids. We got 4 adult kids and 2 babies. So when we were going to have my baby girl and my son, things for me had to change. Hip hop was no longer the priority for me. I needed to do something else where money was going to come in and be more regular, and that would help my whānau. So that was my focus. And so my wife, the smart woman that she is, she's probably watching the link. So yes, I did say it. You're a very smart woman, babe. She suggested that I go and study and that I work smarter and not harder. And I said, whoa, what do you mean smarter? I'm smart. What are you talking about? And she said, because I'm a laborer, I wanted to do physical mahi with my hands like my dad. And she said, think about your body in 10 years. Think smarter. You don't want to be banged up like dad. I was like, whoa, I'm in shape. I'm strong. I've got this. What do you mean? And she said, why don't you go and study IT? You're good at computers. And I was like, IT? I don't want to do IT. Like, I didn't know what IT was, so I was just trying to argue with it. I don't want to do that. But IT, I don't want to drive around in a van full of cables and plugs and connect people's IT. And she was like, that's not IT. And I was like, oh, okay. So 2016, I went along to an open day, Te Wānanga o Aotearoa. And the first minute I sat down, I was like, boring. And that's probably what most of you are thinking right now, boring. But in that first 5 minutes, I didn't realize that IT and the umbrella of IT, there's a lot of things under that umbrella that I had done or was doing because of my experience in hip-hop. Things like design, Photoshop, designing posters and flyers and tickets for gigs and shows, to lanyards and things like that, designing websites for our crew. So all sorts of different elements, multimedia, editing videos, to beat making beats and recording music, and all these out-of-it ideas I had of games that I would one day make. I had no idea that all of that was under IT, so I signed up that day, 2016, and just a few months ago, I graduated with my bachelor degree in IT. Thank you. Thank you. But that's something I would never have thought would have been possible from where I come from. I would never have seen me with a degree in IT. But that's from sticking to your guns and following your passion. Now, a quick story. Last year was the last year of my degree. Our game developer, tutor, said that they had a group called Ara Journeys coming through and they'd like us to meet them. Māori and the tech space, games and all that, they think it would be a good pathway for us. At the end of the hui though, when we asked if we can go meet them, they had already left Wintec. So I said to the tutor, can you please follow that up, because I think that'll be a good pathway for us. I want to be connected to that. And he said, yep, sent them off an email, and just had to wait back for the response. The next day I came back, I asked them, have they replied yet? And he said, no, still waiting. And then on the third day, I said, have they replied yet? And he said, no, still waiting for the reply. So for me, I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait for that. Ara Journeys wasn't on our list of the places that we could apply for, but I had to take a chance. So I went home, Googled Ara Journeys, what do they do, looked at the team, who was all a part of the company, and I went home and I created my own application, sat there and wrote an email, and I sent it off without telling our supervisors that that's what I was doing. But I sent it off to Amber at Ara Journeys and hoping, just for the most, that she'd even see it. I wasn't expecting to get a reply. The little secret is I had been already offered 2 internship roles and given 2 jobs. I didn't want to be at those places, so I said to them, thank you, can I have a couple of days to think about it, because someone else is getting back to me, And when they do, I'll let you know. So I turned down a couple of roles in the hopes that I would get another one, and Amber hadn't even replied yet. So my wife, if she's probably watching now, she's probably correct. Why did you turn those roles down? Because that's not where I wanted to be. I wanted to create my own opportunity. I'm just thankful that Amber did look at that email, and she replied back, and now I'm a game dev for Other Journeys. So if that's one message I want you to understand is sometimes people will tell you no, or sometimes you'll think, I can't do that, or it won't work. But you won't know unless you give it a try. The worst that could happen is that they say no. But what's the best that could happen? They could say yes. So, like I said, I'm a game developer, junior game developer. It's been 6 months now, so I know I've got a lot to learn. But I'm excited about being in this workspace. I get to code and program games and create apps. But there's still times where I get to do a bit of voice recording, and I get to sort of dive back into my beat making mode or music making mode. And Amber asked me recently, we've got a brand new logo. This one here. If you can see, so we've just had a brand new logo that's been created for us. 3D artist did the animation, and she asked if I'd create the music, and of course I was going to say, yes, I can do music, cool. So this is an exclusive, actually. This is the first time we've played or shown anyone our logo animation. So I'm going to play it now. I hope you guys like it. Cool, yeah, I like it too. No, thank you. But that's just a little bit of what we get to do at, or what I get to do at Other Journeys. But it's so much more than that. I just want to finish off now. The last slide, I know we're running out of time. But those first 3 slides was just me talking about me and the things that I've done. But this last slide is more importantly, it's more about what's this day about, and it's about all of you. And so what I want to talk about is, or leave a few jewels. I hope there's some in there for you. All the rangatai in the building, if you could quickly stand up in the seat where you are right now. Just stand straight up. Come on, let's go. Quickly stand up and look around at the people next to you, behind you, in front of you, beside you, and think about what you see. And I'll tell you what I see. All of you, you are all the leaders of tomorrow. All right? So the world that you inherit today is going to be the world that you create and shape tomorrow for you. There's going to be people that will say your goals are impossible, or they're unrealistic, or they'll doubt your ability and they'll doubt your skills. And they might be right. They might be right. They might be impossible goals, but they're only impossible until you make them possible. Your goals are only unrealistic until you make them a reality. So the point is, don't let anybody tell you no, that it can't be done, that you can't do what you know inside that you can. There's 2 things that I'd like you to go away with out of all of this, would be this. Never lose your curiosity, because curiosity brings change, I believe, and never lose your imagination. Imagination brings discovery. The more you're curious about something, you want to figure out how it works, why it is the way that it is. That's a good thing, because that's going to help you progress forward. Same with your imagination. Your imagination is a powerful tool. For me, my passion was music, so there's things that I could hear that weren't there yet. I was able to follow that passion until I was happy creating something that I loved. And so, if your passion, like we're here to inspire you to get into tech, But whatever your passion is, music, sport, make sure you hold on to that tight because that's you, all right? Um, yeah, be 100% yourself because you have the power and you're with it. So, on that note, I want to say thank you for listening. Thank you for allowing me to be here once again. Like Amber said, right, we're going to have a competition. So we're for the Other Journeys booth in the zone. And she said we got T-shirts that talk. So we're going to give away a few of those T-shirts today. So when you come through to the zone, to the Other Journeys booth, going to hold a little bit of a competition. So all the hip-hop heads out there, if you think you're good at rhyming, what we're going to get you to do is come along and show me your best freestyle about Manu, and you might win yourself a cool T-shirt that talks to you. All right, but that's me. Thank you very much. Have a good day today. Love you.